And so the rebuild begins. The last video I showed you how to put the nails in. So what I've done so far is gotten all of the nails put back in. They're pretty well lined up. I will do some tweaking of the nails later once the machine is all put back together. I've put the spinners back on. I've put the attractions back in, the pay pockets. I did not put the tulips in. I'll put those in later. I like to work the back of the board and get the rails in so that I make sure that the rails line up with the tulips. So I usually don't put the tulips in until later on. So what we're going to do now is put the rails back on. And the rails are all clean. Again, I use Awesome to get the crud off of them, and then a little bit of chrome polish. But they're stainless steel, so they clean up pretty well. First thing you want to remember when you get ready to put the rails back on is this piece right here, this chrome piece, is the cover for the drain hole. You want to make sure that that gets put back on. If you forget, then what's going to happen is this rail goes on like this. So if you put the rail on and forget to put this on first, then you got to take the rail off and so on and so forth. So this is where your pictures come in. If you were diligent in taking pictures, you're going to start at the end and work your way back. So there's no specific way to do this. It's just kind of a logical progression. The last thing you took off the machine is going to be the first thing you put back on. There are a couple of things I tend to forget, and those are there's a plate right here that's held in with two nails. That goes on the front side. There's another plate that's similar to it that goes on the back side and over here. That was held in with staples, so later on I'll put that on, and usually I'll use a couple of screws to hold that in. But this is one that I quite often forget. It's not a big deal if you don't put it in, but it's a good idea to do that. So you want to get the nails that came out of the launch ramp and this one, and you want to get all of your wires. Okay. Tool wise, you're going to use the angled needle nose initially, and you'll need a little a diagonal cutter. No, you won't need. I'm sorry. You won't need a diagonal cutter, but you'll need some needle nose pliers and your nice little hammer. Okay. So you get all of that stuff ready to go. So the first thing you're going to do is put the actual launch ramp back on, and this one, it depends on the machine, but this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4 wires. So you just take your wire and put it back just the way it was. And again, you want to, if they're not straight, if these wires aren't straight from when you took them out, take the time to straighten them out, because the straighter they are, the easier it will be to get them back into the board. Okay, so I've got the 4 wires ready to go. Close them up. Check and make sure they're all pretty straight, which they are. Now what I've also done is I took this tool that I have for poking holes, and where the through holes are, here and here and here and here. These are the 4 holes that will hold that rail on. Oops, sorry, out of camera. Where these through holes are, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? What I've done is I've gone in with this and open that hole up as large as it'll get. Again, just to make it easier to get the wires through. Okay. All right, I think we're positioned so you can see it. So the launch ramp goes on this way, and what you're going to do is visually you're going to just line up with the holes, get it just started in each of the holes. just sort of wiggle. And if you've done everything that I told you to do, and that is to clean out the holes, and these wires go through relatively easily. So you get it started like that in the right holes, and then again just work it. Until it goes down. Okay. So on the back side, now you have, here's the wires right through here. So what you want to do is take your regular needle nose, bent nose, doesn't matter. You want to push on the rail on this side and grab that wire and just, I like to use the bent ones because I can grab it and then use the pressure to pull that wire tight. And once that wire's tight, then I'm going to bend these open again in the same direction they were originally. So again, I push where it is, give it a little pull, make sure it's nice and tight, and then open the wire. Okay, now what you want to do is double check, make sure that the rail itself is flush to the board, it's nice and tight, you don't have any slack. And on the launch ramp, there were also two nails, and if you remember or if you watched the previous video, the longer nail is the one that goes here, and then there's two nails that are the same size. The shorter of the two goes in this hole. Again, you line it up with the actual hole in the board, and then you can drive these in. Now, one thing I don't know that I mentioned in the other video, and I don't have what I need, but there is a, pardon me for going off frame here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, bear with me. There it is. There's two headless nails on a pachinko. One goes on the back side on the frame, and it's what the spring tension hooks onto. The other one goes right here, and when this rail is in place, this rail is going to go right here. This headless nail goes right here, and you drive it so that it's flush with the top of the rail. It just provides support. So you can see a big hole here and a big hole here. That's where the wires go through. The smaller hole is where that headless nail will go, and you'll drive it in, and it'll bottom out anyway, but you want to make sure it's flush with the top of the rail. Okay, so you've got this rail to go on and this rail. And when you do this rail, you want to start with it here and then work it around to here and around to here as you put it in. Okay, so you're going to do it, you've already got this one on, you're going to do it 2 more times for these. Now let me show you what to do on the back side. Let's see if we got a good angle here. Okay, so you get your needle nose pliers, and if you look on the board, okay, you can see a little bit of darkness or even a little groove there. That's where the original wire just laid against the board, and you also see a little tiny hole. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your needle nose and you're going to bend the end of this wire 90 degrees, so that it fits into that hole. And then you drive it in flush. And you're going to do that on each side of these wires. Now, sometimes what happens is you'll go to bend this and it'll break. If it breaks, don't worry about it. What you do is you take a small drill the same size, back up 1/8 of an inch, drill a new hole, bend the end of the wire and put it in. So if you break one off, don't worry about it, just improvise and do that. So you're going to do that all the way around, and that's how you put all your rails back on.